Okay, today we're going to be looking at the DSi XL. This of course is the box for it. It's actually the third DS I've owned. I had the original silver one, the really uncomfortable thing, and then I upgraded to the DS Lite. It was a huge step up. Unfortunately I had to get rid of it, but now I have this one, and you know, it's another big improvement over the predecessor. So you can see on the box the screen 93% larger, and it does include 3 pre-installed titles, which I haven't played either one of those, and the photo clock, it's just a clock with a photo on it. I don't know if you can call it a title. You can see on the back it shows you the original size of the DSi, and then with the new one, how big it is comparatively. One thing I don't like about the box is I remember like game systems, like they used to have like just a ton of you know, game screens on the back of the box, and I really miss that. Like a lot of consoles don't seem to do that these days. But that's the box. When you open it up, you're greeted by the quick start guide, and you're like, holy crap. But then you take it out of the bag and you realize that yes, it is in fact just a little quick start guide. And then you have like all this stuff in here, Club Nintendo, warranty stuff, and then you have the operations manual, which makes up the bulk of it. It's actually not that big though, because it's in several different languages, so like, you know, each section is only X amount of pages long. So there's that. In addition to that, you get this really nice stylus. I like this a lot. If you're not taking it on the go, it's really nice to just use this while you're sitting at home. So that is very cool. And then you have the system. Oh, before I go on, it does come with a charger too. It is different than past DS chargers, so you cannot use old ones with this one, or vice versa. It's similar to the PS1 adapter, you know, this swivels out, plug it in. It's a, you know, a decent sized brick, but it's not too big. And then that end just goes into the DS right on the top. And here's a look at the system. It is quite a bit bigger than the DSi. I don't have a DSi at the moment to compare it to, but I do have some other systems. Here's a Game Boy Advance. Let's see, it's a bit bigger than that. Also the PSP, which is actually about the same size. And then the another portable system, the Game Gear. You can see the Game Gear is still freaking huge compared to it. Alright, but yeah, I went with the Midnight Blue one here. It's got this nice glossy top to it, which unfortunately is a magnet for fingerprints. It does have one external camera here. I think it's like a 3 megapixel camera. It's really crappy. I wouldn't recommend buying this just for the camera. On the outside we have a headphone jack there, SD card slot, which is actually new because the DS Lite and the original DS didn't have that. They had a Game Boy Advance slot. And there's a stylus, and that's a big improvement over the original. I don't know if you remember, but it had it like back here, and getting it out was okay, but trying to put it back in while you're playing a game, just it didn't work. So I'm glad they moved it there for the Lite and the DSi. On the top, got your L and R buttons, got your game slot, got Dragon Quest 9 in there, DSi XL logo, or serial number. That's the battery there. That's where you plug in the charger. And then your volume buttons up and down. And then when you open it up, you've got your power button down here. D-pad, I know a lot of people love this D-pad. I don't hate it, but I think it's a little tricky to pull off diagonal sometimes. I think that's mainly because it's just so low to the system. And all the buttons, if you notice, they have a very low profile. I actually like that for the face buttons. but I wish the D-pad was just a little bit better. But the A, B, X, and Y, they're very, very responsive. Very, very nice. You can reach them all very easily. Some people may not like that they're small. I don't mind really. And then start and select down here. And everything is in really good locations. You're not going to accidentally shut off your system because you do have to hold it down to shut it off. And start and select are very easy to reach, and as are your shoulder buttons. And then over here we have 3 lights. You have your power. The middle one is for when you're charging, and that is your wireless communications. Pair of speakers on either side. And then there's a second camera right there, and a microphone for, some games do require some microphone usage. There's also some features on here that do require some mic usage as well. Okay, and it's got a really nice backlight in this thing. Seems to be a lot brighter than previous models. And the main menu you can see is a little bit different. Used to be they just had the games Picto Chat and Download Play. Now you got lots more options, and you can use the D-pad or your stylus to control this. Photo clock is just what it sounds like. It's a clock with a photo on the top. You can set the alarm and stuff on it. Let's go back. It's 2 Brain Age Express games. I guess these are WiiWare titles. I played the original back in the day. It was okay, not my thing. That is just a 3-minute video on basically a commercial for the internet functions of it. Flipnote Studio, that lets you make little flipbook cartoons. It's kind of cool. I haven't really messed with it yet, but I want to. Web browser. It is the Opera browser, and this comes actually loaded onto the system. It's not like with the original DS you had to buy a cartridge for the browser. This one comes loaded onto it already. You can hit go to page and type in, and it's easy to type with the stylus. Or you can select favorites and stuff. And just want to show you how slow the browser is. It's a little bit slower than the PSP, and the PSP has a horrible browser, so yeah. It is nice though because you can use the stylus to type and stuff. So I would say it's probably about even with the PSP. One thing I do like is you can do that, so the larger part is, or the zoomed in part is on the top or the bottom. Let's just stop that. I'm gonna actually go home and get out of here. Go back to the main menu. Picto Chat, that's been around since the original. You can draw little pictures and write words and stuff and talk to other people. Download Play, that's been there since the beginning. Certain titles let you down or send them to friends, and they can download it on their system and play bits of the game on there. Shop, that's where you buy your DSiWare titles. DSi Sound, we'll get to that in a minute. DSi Camera. Like I said, this DS has 2 different cameras, one on the front and one on the outside. Look at our album here. This is a very nice interface here. You can use a D-pad, or you can hit these directional buttons. You can also scroll like that. And I just took some random pictures on the freeway. And like I said, it's a pretty cruddy camera, but what do you expect? This is just a games console. Yeah, and then you can you also have the option of editing photos, and you can distort them, mirror, all sorts of stuff. So we'll get out of here though. Return to the menu. And then DSi Sound, it's pretty much the same thing except with music. You can put AAC files on an SD card, and then you can manipulate them a little bit. You also have the option of recording and editing the sound with the microphone. I'm not going to do that today, but go back to the main menu, and then the last thing I'll show you is, well, there's a settings menu here, but that's where you set up your profile name and all that. And then we'll just go into the game real quick. So I'll show you what one game looks like. This, of course, is Dragon Quest IX, awesome JRPG. Level 5. And a lot of the games on here, the graphics compare to like PS1 or N64 games. Some games look a little better actually. This one I think it actually looks better than those. That's just my opinion. It's a very, very nice looking game. And you know, a lot of the DS games are. See if we can get into a battle here. Whoops. Yeah, as you can see, it looks really, really nice. You know, really bright and colorful. Yeah, so that's about it. And as for games for the DSi, unfortunately you don't have the Game Boy Advance slot anymore, so that is a major drawback. The Game Boy Advance is actually my favorite handheld. But you do get just a ton of great DS games. I just have a few here. Adventure Time, which is like a Zelda 2 clone, you know, with an Adventure Time skin. Very fun. Of course, you got Dragon Quest 6, 9. You also have 4 and 5. Just a great RPG series. It works really well on the DS. Yeah, these are highly recommended. I haven't even opened 6 yet because I'm still messing with 9. You have Knights in the Nightmare, which is a hybrid of a strategy RPG and a bullet hell shooter, and yeah, it's very unique. It's got gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. Just one of the most unique titles you can get on the system. And you know, in addition to these, you know, there's all sorts of stuff. There's New Super Mario Brothers. There's a Mario Kart game, Hotel Dusk, Lunar Nights, Final Fantasy 3 and 4. You know, there's all the Lego games on there. There's Phoenix Wright, I don't know if I said that already. Phoenix Wright games on there. Dark Spire, Contact, Etrian Odyssey. There's just a ton of great games you can get for the system. So yeah, it's kind of like the PS2 in a way. It's you know, it's got a ton of great software on it. You know, there is a lot of garbage, but you know, you're going to get that with any system. Thing too is, like the PS2, you know, there's a lot of these out there, but they don't really go down in price just because they're in such high demand, because this is, you know, one of Nintendo's greatest handhelds, and yeah, there's just a huge demand for it. So yeah, that's I think that's gonna do it. It's a fantastic handheld, very comfortable, lots of great games to play. You know, lots of neat features if you're into all the extra stuff. Me personally, I'm not, but I can see a lot of people would be. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.